Today, we will be comparing buying a single-family home versus a duplex to help you determine which is more suitable for you. We'll start off with the single-family homes first. Let's go over the upsides of these types of property. If you can add a registered or legal second suite, it could increase the value of the home substantially, and you can refinance to pull out a good chunk of your original down payment money. If it's a relatively larger and newer home, then with proper screening and patience, you can find a good quality tenant that will stay for a long time. For example, it may be a higher class family that wants to rent because they just sold their home and they're waiting for the market to cool down for a few years. Once again, with proper screening, you can find tenants that will treat their home as if it were their own. Also, this is a relatively good option if you are okay with renting out to those with pets or babies. This way, they have no other tenants to bother with all those noises. They have their own backyard, if that's applicable, to let their pets out to, and let their children run around, and so you won't be getting phoned complaints from annoyed tenants to do something about it. Single-family homes typically appreciate in value a little faster than duplexes. However, keep in mind that you are investing in real estate to build equity in the investment, not based on hopes of the value increasing. That's essentially gambling. Now let's go over the downsides of buying a single-family home. Once it's vacant, the whole mortgage payment is up to you, whereas with a duplex, if one tenant leaves, at least part of your mortgage is being paid by the other tenants while you try to fill the vacant unit. The tenants and their family get the whole home to themselves, which means there are no other tenants watching them and making them feel ashamed if they do something damaging to your property. In other words, no one can snitch on them. Therefore, if they turn out to be not so respectable tenants, they will be a lot more relaxed with dripping car oil on your driveway or not picking up after the dog on the front yard and making dents in the wall. In addition, you, as a landlord, can't check up on your property too often here. With a duplex, you can come in and just say that you're checking up on the furnace filter and the water heater for both the tenants, while discreetly looking at the condition that they are living in. In a single-family home, you can't really use that excuse because they can just say that they'll do it themselves. The maximum frequency that you can check up on the tenants and the home depends on the bylaws. Usually it's no more than once a month, and it has to be with a good reason. This is why it's important to screen your tenants. Check out our overview video on how to screen tenants properly by signing up to our free mailing list on our website. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be in the description. Now let's cover duplexes. First, we'll go over the upsides of buying a duplex. First of all, you can potentially get more rent income every month from a duplex than a single-family home with the same overall square footage. Also, you can live in one of the units at a discounted cost. Although the space will be smaller, assuming you're living in the basement, you will be getting lots of help to pay down your mortgage from the tenant living in the other unit. This is especially true if you're willing to put up with the smaller and worse units, which is usually the lower units, as mentioned before. The tenants in the upper units will be paying more money since he's getting a nicer unit, and more of your mortgage is being paid off. If you really think about it, other than the down payment to buy the home, it's like you're renting, except that rent money is going to your equity in the home, instead of making some stranger richer. In addition, if you do decide to live in one of the units after all, you can be assured that your tenants will be on a much better behavior, knowing that you are on the other side of the wall, assuming you screen your tenant properly. They know that if you sense some unusual activity going on, you will likely find out. Duplexes are more universal. You can buy them in various parts of a town or a city, and will likely find a quality tenant that is looking for an affordable home close to work or the center of the city. It's not nearly as simple with single-family homes, since the rent amounts on those are usually much higher on a per-unit basis. So you would be looking for prime tenants, such as managers of companies or business owners, which means the home should be in a prime location that justifies that rent amount. Adding on to the previous point about being more flexible regarding where you can buy the home, it means you can also likely find a relatively inexpensive area that is still close to stores, bus stops, and other requirements for tenants. The duplex will likely even cost less than a single-family home that would provide you with the equivalent total monthly rent amount. Now let's talk about the downsides of buying a duplex. If each unit is not separately metered, as in there are no meters measuring each unit's utility usage, and you want tenants to pay the utilities, on top of the rent, it may be a little hard if you have picky tenants. Not all tenants are okay with splitting it half and half, or 1/3 for the smaller unit and 2/3 for the large unit. Everyone always thinks they use less of the utilities than the other person. So be prepared to instead possibly increase the rent amount and make the utilities inclusive for both units. Another downside is if it's not a legal or registered unit, and the city finds out, they may evict your tenants, penalize you, and or make you convert it to a registered or legal suite according to their standards, which will be very costly. Make sure it is registered with the city first before proceeding to rent it out. It's a good idea to do so for the safety of your tenants anyway, protecting you from any potential liability. So, which one is best? Based on what we have seen with our partner property managers, buying a turnkey duplex works out quite well for both new and experienced investors. The units are relatively easier to rent out due to the lower rent amount for each unit, and they can frequently be found at a relatively low cost. What do we mean by turnkey? That means that the second unit is legally registered with the city and there are no issues with the home foundationally. It's just good to go. Single-family homes are harder to rent out because a good quality tenant willing to pay more is harder to find. But it may be a good idea if you're thinking of doing, for example, a rent-to-own. We will cover that topic in later videos. It all depends on various factors, such as your strategy, how much time you have on your hands, and if you are able to afford a fully vacant home for a month or two. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us. We're here to help because we specialize in this. If you don't have any time to invest, call us anyway. Maybe we can figure out a plan that works for your schedule so that your money is working hard for you. Also, don't forget that we're partnered with a professional real estate management company that will take over all the heavy lifting for you at a discounted amount if you buy or sell through us. Visit us at Strategicinvestments.ca. Don't procrastinate, don't wait till tomorrow, contact us now.